Welcome to the Day 1, Year 1 English Conversation Orientation Guide. If you are a second-year student, please navigate to the second-year video. If you are a first-year student, please continue with this orientation guide. Welcome to the Advanced English Conversation 1 Orientation Guide. My name is Miss Dominica, and I will be guiding you through this wonderful, informative orientation video. Please click Who Am I at the top of your screen now. So, exactly who am I? Well, I am your teacher. You won't really see me in this video at all, but hopefully we can see each other soon once the school year begins. With that being said, let's continue. Now, I said that I was your teacher, but exactly who am I? Well, my name is Miss Dominica or Dominica Teacher. You can call me either of those, both are fine. However, please do not just call me by my first name. Just calling me Dominica is a little bit informal. Now, you may be thinking, that name doesn't sound very English. Well, actually, it's not an English name. It's Italian. Now, if you look at the very bottom of that chart where it says Sunday, well, that's my name right next to it. My name literally translates from Italian into English, Sunday. If you don't believe me, go to Google Translate and try it yourself. I'm not lying. A little bit more about myself. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, if you don't know where Philadelphia is, it's about an hour and a half south of New York City. And yes, just like the cream cheese. Now, because I'm from Philadelphia, I say some things a little bit funny. For example, water, I actually pronounce it more like wooder. And I use the word hoagie, which is essentially those sandwiches that you get at Subway. That's just what I call a hoagie. I also sometimes might ask you, "Jeet?" which is a very simplified form of the sentence, "Did you eat?" I also might talk about cheesesteaks at times, which, if you don't know what a cheesesteak is, just Google it. And now, the most important part about myself. My dude! Now, my dude's name is Milkshake, and this is him. He's adorable. And because he's adorable, and because he is my dude, I typically include him in the videos or the lessons, and I sometimes even share some stories about him. So he will be appearing throughout the semester. But I mean, who wouldn't want to look at him? He's absolutely adorable. Now, if you would like, feel free to pause the video, just stare at him in all his cuteness. But if not, then just keep on going. During this orientation guide, I'm going to be covering the information that is on the course syllabus. If you have not already done so, please download the syllabus from the Day 1 school website or the Google Classroom. Now, if you do not yet have access to the Google Classroom, do not worry. You will be added soon. Whether you have access to the Google Classroom depends on when this video is published online and when we actually add you to the class. But the syllabus should be somewhere. Once you have downloaded the syllabus and you are able to see it, please continue. Now that you're looking at the syllabus, we're going to go over some general information on the syllabus. The first thing is my email, which I'm not going to put into this video because I don't want random people emailing me. But you can find my email address right at the top of your syllabus. You can use this email to ask me questions about things in class. You can submit certain items for me to review. You can even use this email to submit assignments, but you must get prior allowance in order to do that. Do not send me random things to this email though. Don't send me cat videos, those chain emails of send this to 10 people or you'll have bad luck. My friends send me enough of those. I don't need any more. Also, another thing to remember is whenever you email me, you must use your Day 1 student email. If you email me from your personal email, not the school email, I will not look at that email, nor will I respond to it, because I don't know who that email's from. If you send me an email with that Day 1 student email, I know exactly who that email is from. Also, we have a class website, which is simply the Google Classroom website. On this website, I will upload all of the materials, the lessons, as well as documents to this website so that you can see them when we have the online classes. One important thing to remember with this website is if we have in-person class, the lessons that I do in person will not be uploaded to this website because you should be focusing on the lesson during class. However, the documents that I give you when we actually are in person, those will be uploaded to this website. That way, if you accidentally lose a document or it gets damaged, you can print out another one. Another really important piece of information is the course textbook. The textbook that we will be using for this class is the World English 2 textbook. This is what it looks like. Please note that it is the book with the city on the front. Please have this textbook ready for the first day of class. If our first day of class is in person, I will actually be checking to make sure that you have this book with you and we will be using it in class. However, if our first class is online, you'll still need this book in order to complete some of the parts for the lesson. Now that we've gone over the important things for the syllabus, let's move on to the expectations and goals that I have for you for this class. First, to develop the ability to converse and express ideas clearly, accurately, and persuasively in English. Second, to increase fluency in listening and reading comprehension, speaking, and writing. Third, to practice grammar through content rather than explicit teaching. And finally, to develop comprehension and critical thinking skills through global issues and events. Now, what this means is that this is a more speaking-oriented class. Instead of you sitting listening to me lecture you on grammar, that's boring. We're going to be doing activities that get you talking with fellow classmates or even with me, and actually get you using the language and learning through various events that are currently taking place in the world. That way, we're learning about modern things that are relevant to what is happening today instead of talking about things that happened incredibly long ago in the past. Now let's talk about the materials that you are going to need for class. The first thing that you are going to need is the World English 2 textbook. Again, this is what the textbook looks like. Next, you are going to need one A4 sized notebook, and please make sure that this notebook is lined, as well as one A4 sized folder. Now, the size of these is about 21 centimeters by about 30 centimeters. However, if your notebook and or folder is slightly larger or slightly smaller, that's fine. Just make sure that when you are getting the notebook, that regular pieces of printer paper are able to easily fit in that notebook. There are going to be activities and other documents that you are going to need to put into that notebook, and it makes your notebook a little weird looking if you have paper sticking out the sides. For this class, just like any other class, you will also need pens and pencils. Now, the color pen that you use for notes and things like that, I don't have a preference. However, there will be times where you specifically need either a purple or a blue pen. With the materials portion of our class out of the way, let's move on to the class rules. Now, I don't have very many rules for class, however, I do have some really important ones. The first rule that I have is show respect to everyone. Now, you guys are in high school, so I shouldn't have to explain what show respect to everyone is. However, if I do see you being disrespectful to any of your classmates, or me included, you will lose some points for your participation grade. The second rule that I have is no languages other than English. This is an English conversation class, and if I hear you speaking a language other than English, you will get one warning, and if I have to tell you to use English again, you will lose points from your participation grade. Now, I know that you all have your unique major, Spanish, French, German, Chinese, Japanese, whatever it may be, but leave those languages outside the classroom during the break or once class is done, then you can use them. But in my class, we only are going to be using English. Third, do not use electronic devices in my class. There will be times where I will allow you to use those devices, but I will tell you in advance. If I do not give you express permission to use electronic devices, if I see those devices out, then you will lose points on your participation grade. Along with the rules that I have for the general class, there are also some rules in regards to the attendance. The first is you need to be in class and in your seat on time with the materials ready. Now, what on time means is you're in your seat by the time the bell rings. And with the materials ready, that means with your notebook, your folder, your textbook, and your pens and or pencils. Also, if you're absent, I will allow you to have 3 absences. However, after 3 absences, every extra absence will start to affect your grade because that means you're missing a lot of my class. Now, your absences must be for legitimate reasons. They can't just be, I didn't feel like taking your class, or, I just wanted to have a nap. That's not okay. But if you need to go to the doctor or you have something for your family, that's fine. Just tell me, and that's all you need to do. Now, if you are absent, you need to come see me in the office and find out what you missed. If you did miss something that we did in our notebooks, I will give you a little sticky note. You put that in your notebook instead of what we did for the notebook, and that will give you kind of like an excuse for missing that assignment for your notebook. I'll talk a little bit more about the notebook checks later, so don't worry. Just come see me, get your little sticky note, and you'll be good. The final rules that I have deal with academic integrity. Do not cheat. If you cheat, that's not your work, and therefore anything that you cheat on, you shouldn't get the points for. Now, you can see in the syllabus that if you do cheat, it's not going to be excused. Also, do not plagiarize. Just like cheating, plagiarism is wrong. Plagiarism is essentially cheating. Now, if you're worried about plagiarizing, I actually show you ways that you can avoid plagiarism. We'll do that in the regular classes, but just don't plagiarize or cheat at all. With all of that information out of the way, let's move on to the part that students are really curious about, the breakdown of the assignments. So in the semester, there's essentially two parts to the assignments. The first part is the tests, and the second part is the classroom activities. Under the tests, there's only two, the midterm and the final. Under the classroom activities, this consists of a little bit more. The first that we have is the participation and attendance. The second is a notebook check. Third is your presentation. And then last but not least, you have your presentation prep packet. Now, don't worry about any of the details for these yet. I will give you all the specific information about due dates and what they consist of at a later time. But for this orientation video, this is all you need for now. Now, I keep talking about this thing called participation, and you get a grade for it, but I want to explain a little bit more about what this is. Now, participation is essentially just how active you are in class, and it's actually an easy way to help you raise your grade, but it's also an easy way that you can actually lower your grade if you don't do things that allow you to participate in class. So let's take a look at some of the things that you should be doing in class. In order to get the highest possible score for your participation grade, there are some things that you should be doing. The first is you're on time. You're in your seat by the time the bell rings. Next, you have the necessary materials and textbook on your desk and ready. This means your notebook, folder, pens, pencils, all of that is ready by the time the bell rings. Next, show consistent effort and enthusiasm. This means that you're actively participating in the class. You're doing assignments and you're staying on task. Participate in discussions. This specifically means that you are adding relevant information to the discussions. You're not just raising your hand and saying, "I like cats." No, that's not going to cut it. Speak only in English. Again, you get one warning before you start to lose participation points. But even if you get one warning, you'll do okay. Just don't make me tell you again. Remain on task during group work. There will be times where you're working with a group in order to complete an activity. As long as you keep focusing on that assignment and you don't go off task, you're fine. And lastly, be pleasant and respectful to others. As long as you do these things, you should be fine. Now let's look at the things you should not do, because these things may lower your participation grade. In contrast to the things that you should be doing in class, there are also some things that you should not be doing because they can lower your score. The first is using electronic devices or having them visible without my permission. As I mentioned previously, there will be times where you're allowed to use electronic devices, but if I see an electronic device out when it is not that time, you will lose participation points. Next, having conversations unrelated to class. I don't care if it's talking about what the lunch is or about the drama that was on TV the night before. If it's not about my class, wait until the break in order to talk about it. Doing work for other classes. I don't care if your math homework is due the next period or you have an assignment that's due at the end of the day. If it's not for my class, don't do it. Arriving late without proper documentation. I understand there may be times where you're in the nurse's office or you were talking with another teacher. That's fine. Just tell me where you were, possibly get a piece of paper with the teacher's name on it, and just show it to me. If you have that piece of paper, you will be excused for being late. However, if you just tell me I was playing soccer or I was wandering the hallways, well, that's not acceptable and will cause you to lose points. Causing a disturbance during class. This can be a wide variety of things, but it's not just limited to the students. It also includes disturbing me. Now, this also includes arriving late, because you coming into the classroom later than the bell is disturbing. Sleeping or putting your head on the desk. I understand as high school students, you guys are pretty much tired 24/7. I get it. I was a student too. And I'm not evil. If you are incredibly tired and you really just need a nap, please let me know and I will let you go to the nurse's office in order to have a quick nap. However, if you don't ask me and you are simply sleeping, that will cause you to lose participation points. Disrespecting others. Again, this can be a wide variety of things, but it will not be tolerated at all. Using languages other than English. Again, as I previously mentioned, you get one warning, but every time after that, it will cause you to lose points from your participation grade. And finally, not having the necessary materials for class. This means if you leave your textbook, your notebook at home, and you don't have it when you need it for class, or you don't have a pen or pencil to use, well, that means that you're not prepared. Doing any of these things might not result in you failing, but it will result in a lower grade. And I don't want to take participation points away, so just do everything that you should be doing, and you'll be okay. Now that we've covered the participation rules, the general class rules, as well as the general information for this class, let's move on to some specific details about the assignments. In this upcoming section, I won't give you the specific details for all of the assignments, but I will give you enough information just to get you familiar with what the assignments are going to be for this class. One of the assignments that we will do in class is the notebook check. Your notebook, as I mentioned for what you will need in terms of materials for the class, is going to essentially have all of the materials relevant to the class. The notes that we have for the lessons, as well as some various assignments that will be in chronological order in your notebook. This notebook is going to be checked twice a semester. Typically, I check this once before the midterm and then once before the final. Do not worry about the specifics of this. I'll give you all of that information at a later date. Now, one thing to remember is this notebook is only for my class. So don't get one of those notebooks that's 5 subjects and you have your math, your science, your history. No. You can get a small enough notebook, not even spiral bound, that should be enough for all of the things that we cover in class. But if you want a bigger notebook because you know that you'll be taking a lot of notes, that's fine as well. Just make sure that it's only for my class. Now, I do have a rule for this as well. You need to have your name, your class, and your student number on the front cover. If you write your name in English or Korean, both are okay. However, please make sure that it is easily visible. This means that if you have a dark color for the front of your notebook, say black or navy, make sure that you write that information on a white piece of paper and tape it or glue it to the front. That way, it's easily able to be seen. Now we come to the assignment that a lot of students are really interested in hearing about. The speeches. Each semester, every student will give one speech during class. For the first semester, this speech will simply be reciting a poem. And for the second semester, this speech will be a persuasive speech. Now, this persuasive speech I typically refer to as MMS. So every time you hear me say MMS, just know that it's the second speech that you will be doing. The process of preparing for each of these speeches will be collected and graded. However, this process of preparing for your speech, this will be collected and graded as a separate assignment, separate from your actual speech. Also, do not worry about any of the details for this speech yet. I'll give you all of those at a later date. As I just previously mentioned, the process of preparing for your speech is going to be collected and graded, and this is what we call the speech prep packet. Each speech will have a corresponding prep packet to help you prepare for the speech. For the reciting the poem speech, this is only going to be 5 worksheets. However, for the persuasive speech, the MMS speech, this is going to be a total of 10 worksheets. Now, depending on the situation, each worksheet will either be handed out in class or posted to the Google Classroom, which will require you to print out the worksheet. If we are in class, I will print them out for you and give them to you. However, if we have online classes, then you will need to print them yourself. The entire packet will be submitted in class at a later date from when I give you the packet, but that date will be before your speech. Therefore, for the reciting the poem, all 5 worksheets will be submitted at the same time, and for the persuasive speech, all 10 worksheets will be submitted at the same time. However, again, don't worry, I will give you the official due date much later. Now let's talk about quizzes. I didn't officially include quizzes on the breakdown of the semester, and that's because I don't really give quizzes. The only time I give quizzes is if the class is not paying attention or is not prepared, is all sleeping, talking, or for another reason that I see fit. Therefore, whether we have quizzes or not actually depends on all of you. If you don't want quizzes, simply be active in class, participate, don't sleep. However, if you do want quizzes, well, you know what to do. However, I will remind you that if we actually have a quiz, well, because you're doing things that you're not supposed to do, you might lose participation points, and that's not good. So let's just all agree to not have quizzes. Now let's talk about one final thing for the assignments and grading. Oh, would you look at that? It's Milkshake, which means that because the most important dude is there, this information must also be very important. I will not answer questions about an assignment the day before that assignment is due. It is your responsibility to make sure that you get the assignment done before it's due. If you wait until the very last possible day to do the assignment and you have questions, sorry, but I'm not going to answer them. However, for the speeches, this is for the reciting a poem or for the MMS speech, I will not answer questions about those assignments 3 days before it is due. Therefore, you should definitely be working on the speeches in advance. Now that we've gone over all of the general information, the class rules, and the assignments, let's have some words of wisdom from the second and third year students. You should definitely listen to this because these are the students who have actually taken my class and they definitely know what they're talking about. Now, you may be thinking, oh, this is just stuff that Miss Dominica is making up. Well, no, in fact. Each year I do a survey, and on that survey I ask the students, what is one thing you would tell the incoming first year students that you wish you would have known at the start of the year? And these are actually the answers that students put down. Now, I'm not including all of the things they wrote, but I'm including the most common as well as the most useful pieces of information. With that being said, let's look at testimony number 1. Testimony number 1. Start the MMS or persuasive speech early. If you wait until the last day or even the last week, you will not do well. The MMS speech isn't a difficult speech to do, but it's definitely a speech that takes time in order to prepare. Now, over the years, there have been students who wait until the very last day or even the last week, and they tend to lose more points than average. Now, it's not enough points to necessarily fail, but it's points lost for silly things, things that could have been avoided. So make sure you start early. That way you can also ask questions and hopefully avoid losing points. Testimony number 2. Ask questions. Ask all the questions. Miss Dominica will not yell at you if you ask questions. In fact, I like students asking questions because students asking questions means that you are doing the things that I want you to do. For example, if you are asking me a question about the MMS speech, that means I know that you are working on the MMS speech, which makes me happy because I want you to work on it. Also, asking me questions avoids confusion. There have been times in the past where something I say is confused and it causes a little bit of panic among the students. For example, there was one year when for some reason a rumor was going around the students saying that Miss Dominica would take off points if your notebook had perforated pages, meaning the pages had that dotted line along the edge and you can easily tear out the pages. I have no idea where that rumor came from, but students were panicking, thinking they would lose points, and I don't care. But for some reason, something I said in English got translated into something funny in Korean and caused students to worry. So just ask me, and I will be able to much better answer your question than your fellow classmates. Testimony number 3. Look at the handouts before you ask Miss Dominica questions. She will make you look things up yourself anyways. Yes, ask me all of the questions, but if I know the answer to your question is in one of the guides or documents that I have given you, I will make you find the answer for yourself. So, again, yes, ask me all of the questions, but if you think the answer is already in your possession, then look for it first. If you still can't find the answer, then ask me the question. Testimony number 4. Get a planner. Do the big and important tasks first, then do the little tasks. Write a to-do list and plan. The school gives you a planner, but if we have online classes or for some reason the school doesn't give you a planner, then just get your own. Now, this is important because you are going to have a lot of assignments, not just for my class, but for your math, science, history, all of your other classes are going to be giving you a lot of work to do. You need to keep that work organized. Do the big and important tasks first. These are the things that will take a long time or that are going to be due really soon. Then, once those things are done, then you can do the little things, the things that you can get done quickly or that are due maybe in a month or two. Also, I find it really helpful to write a to-do list. Being able to check something off or cross something off that to-do list really kind of motivates me because it makes me feel like I've accomplished something. But just plan. Don't think, I'll remember everything. Nope, you're going to forget something. Plan and do the plan. Testimony number 5. Don't ignore MLA. If you do, you'll lose a lot of points. If you don't know what MLA is, don't worry yet, okay? I will explain exactly what MLA is and I will teach you exactly how to do MLA. Essentially, MLA is a way to avoid plagiarism. And just like the MMS speech, MLA is not difficult. But there's a lot of little things that you have to do correctly in order to get points. MLA is a really big part of the MMS speech, and I don't want any of you to lose points on the MLA section of the speech. So, just like the speech, do your MLA early. Make sure that you follow the directions. Testimony number 6. Do not waste the in-class prep time. There will be times where you will be able to work on things for my class in class. Specifically, this is in regards to the speech. However, if you do work for other classes during this time, you've just lost the opportunity to ask me questions about whatever it is we're working on. Also, you probably have also lost participation points because you're not working on things for my class. Use this time wisely. It's an opportunity for you to better prepare for whatever we're working on. Testimony number 7. Check your email. Miss Dominica occasionally emails important announcements and also responds to emails. If you don't check, you'll miss something. I try to keep students up to date with everything that we're doing in class. And occasionally things change, especially because the school year with the whole situation that's going on is a little crazy. So there will be times where I email students announcements, updates, changes in things that we're doing. And if you don't check your email, you could miss that important announcement. Also, there are times that students ask me questions, and I may not respond to your email right away, but I may respond a little bit later. And if you don't check your email, you might miss my response. So just check your email. This goes not only for my class, but for your other classes. Your teachers can also be giving you updates and announcements. Check your email and you won't miss anything. And finally, testimony number 8. Don't rush Miss Dominica. She has a lot of students and is going as fast as she can. It's true. I have over 250 students, and if every student is emailing me or asking me questions, well, that's a lot of students and a lot of things that I have to respond to. I promise that I will answer your question as fast as possible, but it may not be as fast as you want. But don't rush if I don't answer it immediately. Don't panic if I don't answer it immediately. Don't worry. I'll get to it. Now that you've heard these words of wisdom from the second as well as the third year students, hopefully this puts your mind at ease and relaxes some of your worries. Now, again, this is not all of the tips and tricks that the seniors have written on that survey that I give them, but I will drop some other words of wisdom throughout the semester. These are just the really important ones that you should definitely follow in order to be successful in this class. Now that we have finished the orientation guide, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Again, my email is at the top of the first page of your syllabus. Before we finish this orientation guide, there's one more thing that I need you to do. If you haven't done so already, please print out the syllabus. And on the bottom of the second page of the syllabus, you should see something that looks like this. It says, I have listened to the teacher explain the syllabus in class, in this case on the orientation guide, as well as read the syllabus for the Advanced English Conversation 1 class. I understand and agree to follow the syllabus for this class. On that first line, either in English or in Korean, please print your name. Print just means that it's not cursive. Then, on the second line, please sign your name. Once you have done this, I want you to tape the syllabus to the inside cover of your notebook. Please make sure that I am still able to see both sides of the syllabus, meaning that I can lift it up and see the other side. I will be checking this on the very first day that I see you in person in class.